Good afternoon, Michael. How are you today?
Good, thanks, Peter.
Excellent, good man. Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight, Michael. It's great to see you this afternoon. Could you tell me a little about yourself and your business, please?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, Peter. So I'm originally, you can probably tell by my accent, I'm not originally from Northern Ireland, originally from near San Francisco, California. But I've been moving back and forth to Northern Ireland and Ireland over the last, well, since 2008, really. Studied abroad here in 2008, 2009 at the Magee. And that's what got me interested in all things Northern Ireland, whether that's, its history, its culture, some of its past. I studied international politics with an emphasis in conflict resolution. So I think it was a natural fit for me. And so since 2016, I've been living here permanently. I did my master's at Queen's in 2016 and then started working for different community projects and organizations and working my way up, which led to me forming my own social enterprise, AvilaMedia, which I'm sure we'll be talking about. And yeah, so I don't know. I guess from my first experience living here, I really kind of fell in love with the people. I've always had the travel bug. So being in this part of Europe, obviously it's easy to get different places. So there's on the personal end of things, it's a very interesting place to live. And yeah, it just ended up being that I guess conflict resolution and working in the third sector, community sector really was appealing to me. So that's what brought me here.
Brilliant. And when you were growing up back in California, did you ever envisage that you would be living in Northern Ireland and running a social enterprise?
Absolutely not. No. Ireland, Northern Ireland was not really a concept to me, in my childhood or even in my teen years. I came from an Irish American background, so that was kind of always in the background of our family, but we never, thought about it too much. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away when I think I was 19 years old, and I was looking to study abroad at that point. So I think that combination of things of looking where I wanted to go and the family history kind of resonated with me. So I started becoming interested in looking up things about the island of Ireland and my connections to it, I guess, and that's what led me to study abroad. So yeah, I guess if that hadn't happened in that order, I don't know that I would have ended up here. Certainly working in peace building is 100% what I want to do now. But I guess what I'm saying is I didn't think about it growing up until I had those experiences in university, kind of the combination of what I was studying, the family history, and then coming here and then becoming immersed in it really changed things. So yeah, it wasn't a concept in childhood, but probably since my first visit here, I kind of always knew that I would gravitate towards this place.
I know it wasn't for the weather, that's for sure.
No, absolutely. I always tell people I traded the weather for the crack, and that's
very good.
Yeah.
And who would be your ideal customer? Who would be your ideal client, Michael?
Yeah, it's mostly organizations in the third sector, whether that be other charities, housing associations, statutory agencies. We do a lot of funded projects, but we've got to a point where I think we've built a reputation where a lot of people are coming to us, whether that's if they need PR, digital media, advertising, or just partnering on different community projects, which is quite great. So yeah, we naturally, as a social enterprise, we naturally gravitate towards third sector institutions or cultural and heritage organizations, but also we work with the private sector too. So yeah, that would probably be our first customers would come from the third sector.
And what's been your biggest surprise, Michael, since forming your enterprise?
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise, I guess, is it's nice to get to a place where you've organically grown your business to a certain point where, as I said, organizations are coming to you looking for opportunities to collaborate with. Of course, at the beginning, you're just trying to put your name out there, network as much as possible. So I guess in some ways, I'm surprised that we were able to do it as quickly as we did. And the reason I say that is we were quite, I know some of the questions will come about COVID-19, but we were quite impacted by COVID because at that time, we had started our own projects and I was doing a lot of freelance work, which was going to become more embedded in AvilaMedia as an organization. And then obviously the pandemic completely demolished those plans. So I ended up taking full-time work, which I'm still in now. So AvilaMedia is something I continue to build on the side. Although, we have ongoing projects throughout the year. So it is great to have that. But yeah, considering that our plans got derailed and it's not something I could pursue full time as I probably initially wanted to had COVID not hit, we're still very pleased with the success we've had, even with maybe limited time given to the organization.
And who's the first person that you think of, Michael, when you think of the word success?
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a lot of people, but the first person that comes to mind, I have a cousin back home that works in the film industry, and I'm impressed by him. I guess what I like about him, he's very humble. He's had a lot of success in the industry, but you would never know. He's never really taken on I guess that like Hollywood vibe or kind of the negative things that come with the industry, which is part of the reason probably why I left California. But I think he's a great example of someone that maybe came from humble roots and persevered through difficult circumstances and continued growing in his career. And now he's in a place where he's had a lot of success and he can kind of choose more of what he wants to do. Yeah, probably don't say it to him enough, but I'm actually really proud of him. And I think with some of the adversity that he probably faced in the beginning and seeing where he is now is quite impressive.
What's the biggest challenge that you faced since forming AvilaMedia?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, it was just finding the right people to partner and collaborate with. I think that's really important, especially if you're doing things like digital media and journalism. Yeah, I think we struggled at the beginning to just find the right fit for whether that was like film crews or partnering on the right community projects with the right organizations or institutions. And as we work through that, obviously you learn a lot about yourself as an individual, about your organization and what you're looking for and what works and what doesn't for your organization. I can say, obviously going through those initial hurdles, and continuing to network and building those partnerships, we got into a place where, I have, people I can rely on from other organizations if we need to go film something, or if we need to put a community project together on a whim. It's not a problem now. And I think that's a big credit to success, probably in any sector, but in particularly in the third sector, is having successful partnerships. I don't think anything can be accomplished alone in this sector. So, I'm grateful for some of the strong partnerships we've been able to build.
And what gives you the most inspiration? What inspires you the most?
Yeah, I think it's perseverance. I talked about that when talking about my cousin, but yeah, and maybe in some ways I can relate to that. I think anytime you're starting out in your career, there can be a lot of things that can drag you down, whether that's people saying, oh, that doesn't really sound feasible. Actually, to be honest, at one point, someone told me what I was trying to do with AvilaMedia wasn't possible. I'm glad I didn't listen. So yeah, those negative things that come from yourself, that can come from your surroundings, those things that may hold you back from ideally doing what you want to do. I like people that are in some ways able to ignore them, or at least put them to the side and continue to press on and have a huge impact in whatever sector it is, whether that's in the community sector or any private business. So perseverance, I think, is a really important tool that's probably a bit underrated.
Absolutely. And whenever you said about the impossible thing, it always reminds me of if somebody tells you something is impossible, it means it's impossible for them, but not for you.
Yeah, exactly. I almost see it as a challenge when that's presented to me. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to figure that. I don't think I always had that attitude, but the more that you kind of experience in life, you're like, you know what, maybe I can do this. Okay, maybe it'll be hard. I may have to dedicate learning something that I may not be strong in at the beginning, but if you stick to it, you can accomplish most things. So yeah, I think it's important.
And if it were possible, Michael, and you could go back to California and give some advice to your 18-year-old self, what advice would that be?
Yeah, it was going to be unoriginal because it's kind of related to the last question. But yeah, I think it would be to persevere, and I think it would be, yeah, I probably wish I would have found these interests that I have earlier on. I do know it's kind of a niche field that I work in, and perspective that I have, and all that kind of things. And it took getting to university and getting away from home and studying different things from a different perspective that really springboarded me to where I am now. I guess I just wish that I guess I wish I would have taken opportunities to learn that about myself earlier. For example, I've always loved writing, but I didn't actually start writing professionally until I was probably 29 or 30. I'd be a lot further along in that if I had really kind of figured that out. As a younger person, I actually remember, I think it was maybe a sophomore, so that would be like 15 or 16 in high school. And I won a writing contest then, and you would have thought, oh, maybe there's something to that. And then I just forgot about it. I mean, I enjoyed writing throughout my bachelor's degree and stuff, but I guess I never had the attitude of like, oh, you can actually do this yourself and continue to hone something yourself. So I'm glad I figured that out now, but I feel like I could be further along. So I would say, maybe as an 18-year-old, just to seek out what makes you tick and what you are interested, not just in terms of a career, but in your passions. Because if you are passionate about what you're doing, then the career part comes a little bit easier. And probably wish I would have noticed that a bit earlier.
Brilliant, great advice. And is there anything exciting coming up in 2023 for you and your business?
Yeah, so I can't talk about the specifics of it yet, but we are partnered with a renowned housing association who's building a new housing estate in Northern Ireland. And I'm really excited about it because a lot of what we do in the community sector can be very reactive rather than proactive. And I think that's a big ethos of AvilaMedia, is trying to be as proactive as possible when we notice community issues that we might be able to influence positively. And what's great about this is it's going to be a new shared housing estate. This kind of model hasn't been duplicated that often. And what we're doing is, on the community side of things, is building kind of a culture and heritage from the beginning as this estate goes up, so that hopefully that'll lessen some of the tensions, if there are, whether it comes to sectarianism or if it comes to maybe migrant or racial issues of people that may end up residing there. I think building that community from the beginning could have a lot of positive effects. And if it's successful, maybe we could continue duplicating that model as housing. Obviously, housing is a difficult issue in Northern Ireland today anyways. So perhaps this is a mechanism to improved shared housing initiatives moving forward. So and just stay tuned to AvilaMedia. We will be obviously involved in that and putting things out as it unveils. So but yeah, we're hoping that model really is successful and we can continue to work on that in the future.
Excellent. That sounds exciting. So please do update us whenever that is out in the public domain. That would be great. And Michael, if somebody's listening to this and wants to get in touch and reach out to you, what would be the best way to go about that?
Yeah, if they want to get in touch, what is the best way? I would say just go through our website and contact form there. That'll go straight to my direct email and to our team here. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way. Also, just send us a message on Facebook or Twitter on our profiles. Just on Twitter, it's at AvilaMedia. Facebook, you can just look us up on AvilaMedia, and then through the website, there's a contact form. Those are probably the best ways to get in contact. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Michael Avila of AvilaMedia, thank you very much for sharing your story about you and your journey and your business. It's been really, really cool speaking with you this afternoon. Thank you very much indeed. And I wish you all the success for 2023.
Thank you, Peter. Same here. Appreciate it.